Oh, hi. I'm glad you're here. Have I got something to show you?
Jump in your car. Kiss me again and again and again. We're gonna take it to the end. You're my rockabilly rebel. You're my rockabilly rebel. You're my rockabilly rebel, and we're gonna raise the ruckus tonight. All right, you're my rockabilly rebel, and we're gonna raise the ruckus tonight. Ow!
We're here at Rosie The Rebel Retro Boutique, and I'm with music's favorite pinup girl, Heather Ballentine. Hi, Heather. How are you?
Hi, Frida. I'm great.
Great. So glad that you could join us in the shop this evening. And I just have a couple of questions for you. Sure. No, I've got a lot more questions for you. All right. Where to begin? From a spinach farmer's daughter in Arkansas to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Can you tell us about that journey?
Sure. So I grew up in Alma, Arkansas. Like you said, it's the spinach capital of the world. My dad's a musician, so he's the mayor of that town, or was, for 18 years, just recently retired. But he was always in music. He always had bands around, and he really is the one that inspired me to follow my dream as an artist. So I ended up, as soon as I was old enough, I got out, I moved to LA, and I lived in LA for a spell. And then I met my maritimer husband, who convinced me to come to Canada. And I wasn't sure in the beginning, but I've been here 4 years now, and I absolutely fell in love with Toronto. It's definitely my home.
So then during your geographical evolution, how did your music change and evolve?
So I grew up in a very small town. Country is obviously a big influence there. It's the kind of town where everyone sits on their front porch and plays instruments. So I had a lot of classic country influences, Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline. Then I moved to LA, which was where the rockabilly sort of came into the scene. And I fell in love with, bands like the Stray Cats and Brian Setzer and all of that stuff, Chris Isaak. Then when I came to Toronto, I got really into like swing and big band. So my music, it really encompasses all those things. You'll have elements of classic country, rockabilly, big band, and swing, and that's why the live shows are so fun.
Did your pinup style then inspire your music, or was the music the inspiration for your pinup style?
It really was a combination of both. Since I was very young, I always loved collecting vintage and retro things. I was really into retro fashion. I'm obviously a curvy girl, so dressing pinup and retro, you can embrace your curves and your femininity, and I love to dress up. So that was there from a very young age. My father was a musician, so he was always playing music in the house, and I was surrounded by bands, and every morning when he would drive me to school, he would play artists like Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison. So it's funny, it's kind of hard, it's like the chicken and the egg, which one came first? I don't really know. I've always loved both, but as I got older and I really embraced retro fashion and hairstyles and makeup, and the music that I was writing, it all kind of merged, and my style became very obvious.
Recently, there was a tagline that came out on social media describing you as classic, curvy, and cool. Can you elaborate on that?
I remember that tweet. I was actually really excited about that. I had a hard time with body image when I was young, and then I lived in LA for a decade, so a lot of the actresses I worked with, they were a lot smaller than me, and I worked really hard to look like that. But it wasn't until I really just started embracing my figure and my curves that I became so happy. And the great thing about retro fashion and dressing pinup, it doesn't matter if you're stick thin or you're plus size or you're somewhere in between. That sort of style of fashion, it works with every figure. And I'm very big on women just embracing who they are and loving themselves. And pinup and retro fashion definitely allows you to do that. So that's the coolest thing about it.
How do you style for stage versus everyday wear? And what are a couple of your staple pieces that you have in your wardrobe?
So for every day, I'm always retro. You know, I always have a bow in my hair or a little pinup dress. I mean, but it would be a bit more casual. For stage, I really get the opportunity to go big or go home. I can wear the full crinolines. I can do, you know, full-on glitter, you know, eyeshadow if I want with the long lashes. I mean, I really, I go all out for stage.
I found a needle in a haystack, baby, I'm never gonna look back. You're the one I'm looking
What
for.
in your life are you proudest of?
I'm really proud of this record. It hasn't even been released yet, but for me, I've been listening to it for several months, and I had dreamed my whole life of working with Pete Anderson. If you're not familiar with who he is, he pretty much made Dwight Yoakam, and he won a Grammy for Roy Orbison and Katie Lang's Crying. So he was someone I wanted to work with my entire life, and my very best friend, Larry Bartley, and I, we worked very hard on the songs. And when we finally got the chance to record with Pete, it was literally a dream come true. So I'm proud of everything I do because it's always a labor of love, but this album particularly was just a really amazing dream come true, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
And you've got an upcoming show, July the 8th as well, at Lula Lounge.
I do. It's going to be very exciting. I have an 11-piece band, and we're wearing all the retro fashion, so it's not to be missed. There'll be dancing. There'll be, like I said, the big band, and all my merch girls and everyone that's involved is dressed in the retro pinup style. So come dressed.
Kiss me like I've never been kissed before. Kiss me again, I still want more. Kiss me like I've never been kissed before. Tonight.
Hi guys. I just had a major shop-a-thon here at Rosie The Rebel Boutique at Bloor in Ossington. If you haven't been here, you've totally got to come. They have amazing things. It was so fun.